Hey, family, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Financially Abundant Podcast. I am so grateful that you all, out of all the podcasts in the world, that you have decided to stick with me and listen to today's episode. It is truly amazing. As we begin to conclude the second best month of the year, because it's Black History Month, then it's Women History Month. As we could begin to conclude Women's History Month, we want to continue celebrating the strength, resilience, and determination of women, Black women, pushing boundaries in all aspects of life. Today's guest is a mom, an entrepreneur, and currently on a debt-free journey, proving that financial freedom is possible with discipline and dedication. She is balancing her business, being a wife, being a mother, and personal growth while inspiring others to take control of their financial futures, one day at a time. And today, she is here to share her story, the lessons she's learned along the way, and how she's navigating the path forward towards financial freedom. So let me stop yapping because today's episode is going to be so good in the best way, perfect way to conclude Women's History Month. Hey, Erin.
Hey, Denai, how are you?
I'm good, boo. How are you? Thank you so much for coming to
Um,
the show.
well, happy Women's History Month.
Happy
I
Women's
love
History
it.
Month. Yes, everything I do is for the
Yes,
girls.
right. It is such a pleasure to be here with you in this space that you've cultivated and just this safe space called the Financially Abundant Podcast. And I thank you for having me here.
And that is so sweet. And I thank you for coming on the show. And
Yeah.
in this space, because of this space, I have met incredible women like yourself that I call
Yeah.
my virtual besties, that we're all in this together. And it's just exciting to see just women that look like us do this thing
Hmm.
called life and just breaking generational curses. So
Yes,
God
I
is good.
agree. I wouldn't have known half the people I know yourself if it wasn't for social media because
Literally.
we're in two different states, but yet we're here together. So I love
Yes.
it.
And we've been virtual besties ever since.
Yes. I
So,
love it.
Erin, can you tell the people a little bit about yourself and your entrepreneurial journey and how it led to where you are today?
Yes, absolutely. So I will start by saying my entrepreneurial journey didn't look then how it looks now, right? So I am 29 years old. As you mentioned, I am a wife. I am a mother of a 2-year-old toddler. And I currently own a painting franchise. So myself and my husband own the franchise, and that's where we are today. That is, we paint residential and commercial homes and businesses, right? But you asked where it started. Back in 2019, I got licensed as a real estate agent. And I always knew something in the back of my mind told me I'm going to become a realtor one day. I just don't know how, I don't know where, when, what state. And that ended up happening for me in the state of Massachusetts. So
Okay.
that's where my journey began. And then I later got licensed in South Carolina and North Carolina as a realtor. And I went full time into real estate. So I bet on myself completely in September of 2020. And so
Wow.
ever since then, I have been working for myself in some form or fashion, whether it be full time real estate or now working and managing my painting company. So yeah,
Okay.
that's where it all began.
Wow, that's exciting. And so, why were you in Massachusetts, if you don't mind me asking? Like, were you physically in Massachusetts at the time?
Yes, yes, I was. So after college, my then boyfriend, now my husband, got a job there in pharmaceutical sales. So
Oh,
because I didn't have my big girl job yet, I went there and worked in corporate for a year and a half.
okay.
Ever since then, I have not worked a corporate job.
Wow, look at God. And how has that transition been?
Um, it was smooth. I honestly don't really remember what corporate life was kind of like. I mean, I'm close to it with the people around me that are still, working from home or going into the office. But I'm so used to creating my own um, outline, right, of how I want to run my company or how I want to run service my clients, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
and the customer service that I want to provide. That the transition was kind of easy, especially now looking back. Yeah, it felt right to bet on myself.
That's good. I love that. Like you said, you bet it on yourself. And I think that's so important because self sabotage is real.
Right.
And I told myself that this year I was going to bet on myself and
Hmm.
just do it. Like, what's the worst you can happen? You fail, okay, and then you just get back up and try again, right? But
Right.
you'll never know if you don't bet on yourself.
And imposter syndrome is real. Yeah. And that's something that I try not to have. I'm like, if you say you are who you say you are, period. Like, walk in it.
So, how did you transition from being a realtor into the painting industry? Like, what inspired
Yes.
you to go into the painting industry?
That's a really good question. I get that asked a lot. Real estate. Well, I had been coming off my maternity leave, right, from when I had my daughter, and so I like to say in 2 years, in 1 year, I had two babies, a
Okay.
physical baby and a business baby. So it was
Congratulations.
timing. Yes, yes, it was timing. So we started the business, and I knew that paint was something that I always needed in my real estate listings, in our rental properties that my husband and I have, and we always needed a good painter, but it was never that easy to find.
Hmm.
Um, or we've had money taken from us. What's very typical is you wait 5 days to get a quote back, and it might not even include the paint, which then means like the homeowner or myself or the client has to go to the store and invest in the paint and bring it to the paint. It's just not a good experience.
Okay.
And so my husband and I, we sold our investment property, I will say, and that gave us some profit. And we were like, well, what are we going to do with this profit? And we
Mm.
started looking into different businesses. Girl, I almost bought a hair salon. I
Really?
almost, almost opened a salon suite.
Okay.
All of the things. Like we just
Just
searched
trying to
high and
figure
low.
out like what will stick.
Yes, what we wanted to do. And then we were introduced to franchising. And I didn't even necessarily want to take the call. I was like, why are we going on a franchise discovery call when we can't even afford a franchise? Like that's not our wheelhouse.
Hmm.
But God has other plans, and it is
Yes,
our
you do.
wheelhouse, and we are
Yes.
in it, and we are thriving in this business. And so, in fact, so that we were the franchise rookies of the year in our franchise in 2024. So yeah.
I love
So
that. And
thank you.
I love how you just stated
Mm-hmm.
that you didn't even want to take the call,
Didn't.
especially when it comes to franchising. And I
Right.
feel like a lot of us feel like a lot of these things, especially franchising, you know,
Yep.
open a business, right? But then franchising, I feel like a lot of us feel that that is out of our reach.
Right. Right.
How did you
We even rescheduled the call. The
really?
first time I was like, just tell them what we do next week.
Hmm.
And then I got to next week and I was like, okay, we're here.
We're
But
here.
like, it just opened our eyes. And shout out to our franchise advisor. That's a person that connects people with brands. Shout out to him. His name is Chris. Opened our eyes up to brands like that are within reach. And we're not talking Chipotle or the McDonald's or the Chick-fil-A's of the world. Just smaller brands that are making a nationwide impact, right? A nationwide name recognition that you can buy into, and they're not as unattainable as people think. But
I okay, and so when you say my point, it's
yeah.
not as unattainable as people think. Can you tell a little bit? Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I feel like we do
Hmm.
think that a lot of these things are out of our reach, but
Hmm.
they're not. Look at you. You know, we
Hmm.
don't come from franchising background. We don't even. I probably just learned the word franchising like a year ago.
I love it. I love it. Yes. Yeah, I can talk
Tell
on
us
that.
a little bit more about that
Hmm.
and encourage the people like you. If I can do it, you can do it.
Right, right. Well, two parts to this. I have a strong faith background, as we know, as you and I have commonality too. We sold our investment property, and the exact seed that we needed, right? The profit amount, the dollar number, was the exact dollar number that we needed to purchase one territory in the business.
Wow. God
So
is
that
so intentional.
so that kind of sealed the deal. It's like, okay, this is what we're supposed to do.
Mhm.
That amount, so one territory costs $49,000. And then you can add on others, just like if someone were to buy multiple Chick-fil-A's, those are different stores. But our business doesn't operate as a store, it's just a geographic area
Okay.
called the territory. So one territory was 49,000, and we purchased two. So yeah, we have two territories within the business. The other one, there's always financing out there.
Yes.
Now, Denai and I, we don't want to talk about loans and debt and all the things. So, but let's put it out there. Yes, we do have some business debt. So we use, let's call it like other people's money, right? You get a loan and you just finance your dream, let's say.
Business debt is better than student loan debt.
I think so. I
But
think
like,
so.
well, I think when you, like you said, you took the risk. It's a business
Yeah.
debt, right? Like, it's
Right.
not like I have credit card debt.
Right. Right.
And I am about probably, as of today, I'm close to, I got to do the numbers and add it
Yeah.
up. But I have
Yeah.
paid off almost a little bit over 2,000 worth of
Love it.
consumer credit card debt. Thank
Love
you.
it. Love it. Progress is
But that is nothing compared to getting into debt for a business that you know that there will be a return on investment. Credit card debt, there is no ROI.
That's true. There is no return.
It's no return on
That is
investment.
very true.
Whereas you saw a need, you saw a gap in the industry. People are all painting is one of those things that is never going to go out of business. People are
Right.
always going to
Right.
need businesses painted, houses painted, different things like that. So you took
Yes.
a risk, like most multimillionaires do. They took a
Mm-hmm.
risk. I'm sure the founder of Chick-fil-A took out a business
Alone.
that in
Yeah.
order to fund his first location. And
Right.
he knew that I can do this, it's going to work out in my favor later. So,
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that there are good debt. There is good debt and
That's
bad
true.
debt. Like a mortgage is a good debt because you're going to grow equity in that house.
Mm-hmm.
Versus
Mm-hmm.
like credit cards, girl, I
Yeah.
can't pay this off.
Yeah. Or even a car, because as
Or
we
even
know,
a
the
car.
cars decrease in value as you drive them off the lot. So bad debt, I'd
Uh,
say.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So you saw that there's an ROI, and girl, your
Right.
business. I speak this over. You're gonna have a multi-million-dollar business because
Oh,
the
I
painting in
receive
like
it.
this
I receive.
is an amazing opportunity, and
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
So I know that you mentioned having a daughter. Congratulate. How
Hmm.
old is your daughter?
She just
2.
turned 2. Yes.
Oh, what y'all doing for her birthday?
Oh, we did it already. So I took her to the children's library with a few of
Okay.
her toddler friends, and then they had pizza and cupcakes and all the
Oh.
things. So we had about a week-long celebration.
Okay, that's good. And then I also know you're on a debt-free journey as
Yes,
well. Did
yes.
your daughter inspire your debt-free journey? Like,
Mm,
what made you want to start pursuing
yeah.
financial freedom?
The debt-free journey, her name is Journey. So
That
that's
is so
just kind of
cute.
coincidence.
That is
Yeah.
so cute. Hey, Journey.
Um, the debt-free journey was not directly inspired by her, and that I don't know. That's just it didn't happen that way.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of timing. Oh, when this all kind of clicked. My husband and I we frequently look at our finances, right? And we combined our finances when we got married in 2022, and that just kind of, I think it might have even been before that, we got to know Dave Ramsey and his concepts, and everything started to kind of stick. And we were like, yeah, we're in too much debt. We're actually living paycheck to paycheck. I started looking at like debt to income ratios, which I always talk to my real estate clients about, but never like ran the numbers myself. I think I was learning about net worth. That's the other
Um,
thing too, and that your net worth is how much assets you have versus liabilities. And when I counted up the liabilities and like things that were actually not necessarily making us money, which a lot of it for us is student loans and back taxes that are due. Um, and then we had credit cards at the time. It was like, wait, we can't even, like, we have to do something about this. And I think then she got into the picture, but it didn't have anything directly to do with her. Now it is all of our motivation, like, for
okay.
sure. She sees us living this, and we try to make all of our experiences fun for her still. But we definitely want to make our financial future better for her.
Yes, I totally understand. And Dave Ramsey is what kickstarted my journey as
Yeah.
well. He was like one of the first people that I came across. And then
Mm-hmm.
of course, doing, my own thing. It took me a while to get started, but we're
Yeah.
here. And
Uh-huh.
then net worth as well. I didn't realize that I was cash poor.
Okay. Yeah.
That I just kept focusing on like just paying off debt, which nothing is wrong with that either. But
Right.
I'm like, I can save five, I can save 10, I can save 15 and just start putting those things away and
Hmm.
building those habits because I saw that my net worth was in the negative. I said,
Right. Right. You didn't like that.
I'm like, I look good,
You
but if
do.
you, but if you pull behind the cover,
Right.
it's
Right.
a negative. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
and that's a lot of, then I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, it's a lot of people around us every day. That
Hmm.
same thing. Or actually, they don't even take the first step, which is to let me dig deep into my finances. Let me
Hmm.
actually uncover what's behind all this. The only
Hmm.
difference between us and them is we're doing something about it.
Yes.
That's
And
it.
that's the first step is just starting. And I didn't like that
Hmm.
feeling like,
Right.
all of these experiences have shaped us into who we are and we're still growing
Right.
and learning today. But just like you said, I have more liabilities than I have assets.
Hmm.
And that was one
Hmm.
of the major things in when I created my budget template.
Hmm.
I wanted the net worth category because I feel like in other budget templates, like, yeah, we're budgeting, you're getting our money together, our finances together.
Right.
That's
Right.
cool. But to see, like, oh my God, I don't have a net worth,
Right.
it's a dopamine effect. Like, okay, what
Let
can
me
I
do
do to increase my
something.
net worth? Okay, let me get my retirement, my Roth IRA. Let me start
Hmm.
building my high yield savings account and just
Yeah.
start building out those healthy habits. Automating $20 every 2 weeks, I get paid. And then you're
Hmm.
seeing that grow. It's a dopamine effect and it makes you want to, okay, what else can I do to grow my
Yes. And then on the contrary, part of it was we had assets. My husband and I bought our first property. I think I was 24 or 23, and he might have been 28. We've had three investment properties now. And when
Mm.
you look at that, and you're like, oh,
Congratulations.
yes, thank you. We're down to one right now. When you
But
look
it's
at that,
okay because it's going to triple, double, quadruple in a couple
there you
years.
go. There you go. There you go. When you look at that and you say, okay, if this property didn't make us any money this month, can we afford to pay our home bills and theirs?
Mm.
No.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so you can have the assets, yes, but if on a month to month basis or your income is not enough to cover everything that you have going on, because that becomes then another line item. And as you
Mhm.
keep putting on, the debt to income ratio is just off.
Right.
And so we found ourselves in that situation a few times, having to pick up a side hustle just to make sure all the bills were covered.
Mhm.
Again, a mortgage becomes a bill, so making sure that everything is accounted for. So it's interesting because it's not like we didn't have the assets, we had them, but they were also sometimes liabilities.
Right.
So yeah, that's something that I want to share too that people don't always realize.
I appreciate that. And let's dig a little bit deeper
Hmm.
into that if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So I know you talked about you guys had three investment properties at one time. I know when we
Hmm.
talked, you guys had an Airbnb, of course, the house that you bought, and then
Right.
your investment property.
Hmm.
What lessons have you learned from those investment properties, and what do you
Hmm.
want to take going into the future? Because you will
Yeah.
be purchasing more investment properties. So
We
what do you want to
will.
do differently?
Yeah. Number one, we probably will never buy a condo type property again.
Okay.
That first condo, it made it very hard for us to sell the house
How
because
come?
of the condition of the HOA. So the homeowners association didn't have enough revenue. They were not properly upkeeping the property. Again, it was an affordable condo for us to buy, so it wasn't the poshest of the posh, right? And just made it very hard for us to buy. We had at least three or four contracts where people just couldn't. They went to their mortgage company and they couldn't lend on that house because of how bad the HOA was. So that took us forever. We actually had to seller finance. We had like the buyer had to finance from us to buy our property, and then a year later they paid us the remaining amount of that money. So that's a whole another situation I can't even break down. But um
It makes sense. I
yeah.
don't buy a condo.
Right, no buy condo. And so now our Airbnb, it's a condo style townhouse, yes. And this is a way better area, way better HOA situation. So that's not a problem in selling it. But just HOAs in general, we probably won't do that for investment properties again. It adds another bill to things. It restricts what you can and can't do. So that is one thing that we'll take away from that. Secondly, going forward, whenever God allows us to reinvest again, it will probably be with cash.
Okay.
Um, we just don't want to have another potential liability, right? So we will save the time, save the money, and buy a property cash. Or how Dave Ramsey recommends doing it. He uses a percentage of your income that the house that your monthly payment should be, and he recommends only a 15-year mortgage over a 30.
Okay.
So if anything, we'll go that route. Yeah, just I think he says it pays it off sooner, and it's way a small percentage of your monthly payment. Will that house be easy to find? Maybe not, because the market is going up, but yet you got to find a house that fits your parameters down here. So it's kind of hard.
Right.
And
I
that's our
really like that advice because, you know, eventually I want to get into investments. And I feel like
yeah,
a lot of people, you know, we hear all the time, invest, buy properties and different things like that. But, you know, no one talks about, or you'll see a video. I
yeah,
made my investment property made $15,000 this month,
right.
and that's totally fine. That's good and dandy. I love that. But no one talks about what happens when that property doesn't make you money that month. How are
Hmm.
you making sure that you're supplementing that income so that it doesn't put you upside down on what you're trying to accomplish?
Right.
I love how, you know, you said like you had one your townhouse, you
Yeah.
Airbnb'd it and things like
Right.
that. But what happens when you don't have enough to cover that as well? And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. What happens when exactly?
yeah, and it's amazing because you know you don't know these things until you know them, and I'm just so
Right.
happy that those experience have helped you and
Yeah.
you have such a positive attitude about it. And so now you know, okay, so when it's time to buy the next one, this is what I'll do. I'll buy it cash so that way I don't have to worry about it. I'll be
Right.
able to buy it in a different area so that way I don't have to worry about it.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that way,
Exactly.
when you're helping people as a realtor get
Yeah.
investment properties and things like that, you know what to do and what not to do.
Exactly. Yeah. You got it.
Yeah, girl, we all learning.
You got it. But to speak to the debt free journey, now here's the real tea.
Mhm.
You acquire these assets, and now when we come to the decision making point of okay, we're in debt, what are we going to do about it? Your chess piece is that property, and so now we're selling that property to pay down six figures in debt, and only possible because of it and God and allowing us to even say, let me make this investment 4 years ago. Now it's coming back full circle. Okay, now you're going to use that investment to pay off your debt. And thank God that we even did it. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
not everyone has that chess piece. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, you can use your assets in different ways.
Okay. I like that. I like that. What has been the how has your debt-free journey impacted your approach to both your personal life and your business
Hmm.
life, especially as a mom?
Right. Um, as a mom or my personal life, I try to keep everything not just the same because we don't indulge as much as we would like to. Indulge, I mean going out to eat. I'm not going to the spa once a month or a week or as often as I would love to, or we're not going out on as many um, uh, want
Vacation.
to trips. Yeah, we go on the necessary ones. So, but when we are, having a good time, I'm going to create an experience about it. All right, we're going to do a family picnic on Friday afternoon, everyone. Mom's going to make the food. We're going to go to the park. It's an experience. It's wonderful. It's free.
Mhm.
I know all of the free things to do in my
Yeah.
city.
If it's free, it's
So, exactly. And even when I get there, we're not spending no money. It's hard.
free.
That's where my husband caves in because it's like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm just gonna buy this and this now that we're here. No.
No, that's so funny.
No.
Because I'm
Um,
the toxic one. I'm like, oh my God, it's just ice cream. And it's like,
yes.
girl, what did
No.
you just say?
Right. You weren't here for this.
Stick to the plan.
Right, right. So that's that part. I try to keep things as regular and cool as possible. We are so in sync with our finances. It's probably a weekly conversation, if not every 2 days at this
That's
point.
good.
Because you gotta know what's coming in and out.
Yes.
So that's how it's affected personal. Um, Business, in the paint business, that's weird because it's like I'm cleaning up my debt in personal, but the paint business still has its own debt. So in the back of my mind, we're kind of like, okay, we got to pay off this bill, this loan, right? And how soon can we do it? But I'm just trying to stay focused on the personal side. Um, so that's how it's kind of impacted the business. We just try to keep revenue going, selling more paint jobs,
Mm-hmm.
and doing what we can to serve our clients the best. In
Okay.
the real estate business, because I still do that every now and then. It's funny because now I have a different eye to it. When a client comes to me and says, I want to get pre-approved for a mortgage, can we start shopping for a house?
Mm-hmm.
I ask different questions. I'm like, how much can you afford to spend monthly? Because
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Not everyone has, $200,000 to $300,000 or $400,000, which is the average price point in Charlotte for a house, laying around. So you might have to go the mortgage route, right? But let's make sure it fits in your monthly budget to where you're not living over your means,
Mm-hmm.
above your means. So that's how that fits.
That's amazing because you've been like all of these different roles that you have played in your life have
Yes.
helped you become a better realtor, a better business owner because like you
Yeah.
said, now I have an eye for it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
of course we want the $1.2 million house,
Right.
but what will not put you upside down if
Exactly.
anything was to happen?
Right. Right. And if it's your primary house, like you said, if you don't have it that month, or something happens, God forbid, in your paycheck or your job, are you able to sustain? And that's something that I'm working on, an emergency fund. So, yeah. Hmm.
Do you, when you said emergency fund, like your personal emergency fund or like your business emergency fund?
Girl, the business should have one too. It has its little savings, so we'll call it a savings. But no, personally, my husband and I are working to have an emergency fund that's fully funded for at least 3 months, at minimum 3 months. I know we were talking about that before too.
Yes.
And so yeah, emergency funds are definitely key. It's something that we never had. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
savings,
Yeah.
but like that's the account that you might dip into to go on the trip, or you might, the emergency fund needs to stay there. So
Yes. Yes. I remember when I came across Dave Ramsey, and he talked
mm-hmm.
about building your baby step number one, building your emergency fund first before you even begin any your financial independence journey in general.
Right.
And I'm hard headed. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, he don't know what he's talking about. I'm gonna go straight to the debt.
Right.
I got into an accident.
Okay.
My first accident ever, a car accident. The guy, we were at a red light and he ran right into the back of my crunched up vehicle.
Wow. Oh,
Well, not my crunched up vehicle, my car. Like it had
crunched up. Yeah.
crunched up. Like, and I had
Wow.
just got my baby. Literally, it had
Oh.
been a month. This was back in like 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, I have insurance. I had insurance. He had insurance. Thank God. But you
Mm-hmm.
had to pay that deductible, which was
Right.
$500. And I had just paid off my credit card.
Mm.
I didn't have any savings. I didn't have that emergency fund saved up. So I had to put it back on my credit card because I didn't have
I
cash.
got you.
And so, it's so important to, I understand why he said
Right.
because the average emergency can cost between maybe $500 or $1,000 or so.
Right.
It's just so important to have that
Yeah.
little safety net. And
And
then,
he
of
only
course,
says 1,000. That's the crazy part. That some people, and even myself, had to wrap my head around. It's like, wait, I should definitely need more. But no, he only wants to have 1,000 so that the rest can be thrown at the debt. Like true.
exactly,
And I think it's
exactly.
not until baby step 3, when literally you're complete of your debt, that you can build that emergency fund. So the 1,000 with your income is supposed to float you if something were to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then I recommend, I don't have children, but
Right.
women who do have children, I recommend an additional $500 per child just in
There you
case.
go. There
So
you
if you have two kids, now
go.
you have 2,000. So 1,000 for you, 500 one, 500 two, because summer's coming up. Oh shoot, you forgot to budget out for shoes. So that way you don't pay on
Yeah.
your credit card. Let me go to Foot Locker really fast and get them 2 or 3 pair of shoes, and then
Yep.
you know. But it's also the habit of building it up. A lot of us are
Mm-hmm.
not used to saving.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know where to start. We don't even know where to begin, but building up, I think that it's that dopamine effects. When you see
Yeah.
yourself that first 1,000, you're like, oh damn, I can do this. Like, okay,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
What has
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It is a dopamine effect. Like,
It's a
okay, I can do
dopamine
it.
effect. Like, okay, I can do that. That was cute.
Right, right. Let's do it again.
Let's do it again. What has been the most rewarding part of your financial freedom journey so far?
Hmm. Rewarding.
Okay.
Seeing seeing that balance go down
Yes.
when it does go down. Um, that's rewarding because it shows that our hard work is paying off.
Hmm.
Um, and when I say hard work, it is tough. Like from my husband's income to, and as a business owner, a lot of entrepreneurs will get this. The business doesn't pay me necessarily like that
Hmm.
because you're putting everything back into it. So between his income, our side hustles that we both have to have, to just make it, and any other, I don't know, little bonuses or whatever that come through. When you work so hard and you put your money towards the debt and it goes down, that's the most rewarding part. It's like I can see the light. It's like I can see the light. This is not almost over, but it will be one day. And yeah, yeah, it's good.
I saw your video that you posted the other
Hmm.
day about
Hmm.
your February update. And you were
Yeah,
saying that, the number that you had set for February, you didn't hit that number. So
right.
and I've been there before where I have
Hmm.
set goals and either things outside of my control or things I've even contributed to, because
Right.
I'm overcoming emotional spender. I know that it is something I'm gonna have to battle with for the rest of my life because I'm an emotional spender.
Okay.
I'm happy I'm spending money. I'm sad I'm spending money. But how do you stay motivated when you have those months where you didn't accomplish paying off the credit card, but you still
Hmm.
accomplished something? How do you continue to stay motivated and have just an attitude for gratitude?
Yeah, that is true. Attitude for gratitude is right because it's like, you know what, we will bounce back. Like everything will be okay. God has bigger plans for us. It just wasn't this month. That is all right. Like pay the credit card bill, pay off what you can. Quite honestly, the only reason we didn't make debt payments in February is because we just didn't have the money. All the
Hmm.
money that we brought in had a name assigned to it already. It comes in, here's where it's supposed to go. Here's this, and after that, it's like, well, nothing else left. So you kind of just have to sit with that. There's really nothing that you can do, but to stay motivated, it's like, let's try it again next month. Let me go a little harder in the business. Let me go a little harder at my side hustle so that we have something. Something is better than nothing. I'm like, this can't happen again.
Hmm.
So we have something to put at our debt. Yeah. So it's all just kind of like pushing yourself a little bit harder to
Hmm.
answer your question.
Yeah, I agree. I know because and you're going to have those seasons,
Right.
even kind of like in a weight loss journey, whatever you're believing in, right? Some months you aren't, you don't, you just pay the minimums. And
Mm-hmm.
right now, I'm just paying the minimums on
The
everything
minimums. Right.
as I'm in a transitional season in my life.
Mm-hmm. And I guess
And
that does pay the balance down a little bit.
yeah,
It
it
does.
does. And that's how I'm looking at it. Like, you know what? At the end of the day, although I lost my job, all of my bills, I catch myself when I'm having those moments. Like,
Yeah.
I was doing the math earlier, just seeing like where my balance was, where I started, and like where I am now. And of course, by March 2025, I wanted my at least my smallest debt paid off, which is my credit card,
Right.
and I still have a balance on it.
Sure.
I've just been paying the minimums because
That's it. Yeah.
that's it. That's all I got right now.
Yeah.
And I had to catch myself. I'm like, I have so much to be grateful for. Like the
Right.
fact that I haven't had to add any additional debt during this season of transition. The fact that I've paid all my bills and had more. I
That's a
haven't had to
blessing.
feel,
That's a blessing.
groceries. Yeah, and when you just have that attitude for gratitude, it has just made me, it hasn't always been like this, but it
Hmm.
has just made me just be in awe of God and just continue to thank him. Like, thank you for being my provider, my sustainer, for we haven't missed a meal. You wouldn't
Right.
even know. You are just an awesome God. And I feel like that attitude for gratitude has really just helped me to continue just to trust him despite what's going on in the season of
Amen.
transition.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. So you gonna have those months, y'all.
Right.
Gonna be
Right.
months where you adding $1,000, and then it's gonna be months where all you got is an extra dollar. But it's gonna all work out. You gotta just
Right.
continue to trust the process and just continue believing in God and in yourself, and it's gonna work out. You got it.
It's gonna work out.
For other moms, what who might feel stuck or scared or just unsure of where to start, whether that's in their entrepreneurial journey or their
Yeah.
financial freedom journey, what advice would you recommend to just help them take that first step?
Yeah. So other moms in the, let's say, the financial freedom journey, right? I would say get aligned with your partner. Number one, make sure y'all are on the same page about what's going on here, because what one does will directly affect the other. And if there is no partner, then make sure that you sit down and say, what is my why for wanting to change my finances around, right? That's that first step. And then two, dig into your budget. If you don't have a budget, create one. I feel like the biggest financial shifts come in my life when I or we brain dump everything. Like, we start at what we have in our current bank account and what's due and what's regularly reoccurringly due, and then one-time payments and everything. And so you see, okay, we actually only end up, after everything is said and done, with this. Then from there, you're able to take out stuff that isn't important. I met a guy the other day and he was like, oh, I still actually have that gym membership, and I don't go to that gym as often because I found a new program. And I wanted, not I wanted to say, I did say, are you still paying for it? Is it
Yeah.
being auto drafted out of your account? He says, yeah, I should probably check. Yeah. So there are
It's like,
things that you,
yeah.
yeah, there are things that you
It's
just
only
need to
fifteen
see.
dollars, and it's like that's $15.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so there are things that you just need to see plain, and then you could go from there. That's my first step for the financial freedom journey. Moms, just start, make a plan, make a budget, and get aligned with your partner. For the entrepreneurial journey, it's kind of twofold, because now I'm starting my content creation and influencing on social media. And with that, that's something where stay at home moms or just working moms can start anywhere and make money off of social media. So whether that's in brand deals or collaborations or free events or partnerships or paid projects, we can make money from home. And that goes with just starting, like, post the content, post it. That's it. So that is different. That's a little different side of it. But building a business, if it wasn't like on social media, you got to have a plan, whether that's you purchase the plan, like I did as a franchise, the blueprint, or you sit down and you create that blueprint for your startup. And it's become a whole lot easier now because, look, we got ChatGPT who can make us a business blueprint in seconds, right?
Baby, they could create a whole workout list,
Yeah.
grocery list.
I be on ChatGPT, okay?
I use ChatGPT for everything.
There you go.
People like,
I
be
mean,
careful the environment, girl. We are done.
yeah,
ChatGPT.
I'm gonna go to ChatGPT. Yeah. No, literally. So yeah, creating a plan for the entrepreneurial, aspiring entrepreneur mamas. Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, I love that. And
Yeah.
oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. um, how are you setting up Journey for
Ah.
her financial future?
Well, she, this is a small thing, but she already understands the concept of money. At
That's
2 years
good.
old, yes, she has this little ice cream bar that's like fake ice cream,
Okay.
right? But
So
it
kind of like
comes
our
with
own little convenience store.
yes, like a little store, and it comes with money, and so she understands. She'll come to me and say ice cream, and then I'll take the ice cream, and she says $1. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, you like so she understands the exchange of money for something. And then the dollars, she gets that. I'm saving her money. She has a piggy bank, you know? We'll slip, whether that's 100 or $1 or whatever we have in there, she has her piggy bank. And then we have yet to open, I think it's a 529B
Yep.
account.
Education account.
Exactly. We've yet to do that, but that is one of the top of my list to get her started with that as well. So just teaching her the foundations of money at a very young age, I think is impactful.
That is very impactful. And on last week's episode,
Mm-hmm.
one of my virtual besties as well, she talked about how she has the 529 account for her son as
Yes.
well, how she started that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just amazing to see, like, just us having these conversations because, and she had mentioned, regardless if my son goes to college or not, or he goes to trade school,
Right.
he's gonna pursue higher education
Mm-hmm.
regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And having those funds already set aside for him versus, trying to figure out last minute how we're going to do this and putting yourself in debt or having to take student loans and different things like that. It's just really beautiful to witness like what we saw growing up and how we're using that to fuel our kids to
Right.
do things differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is. And even those without kids, it's like, what did we learn from the past that we're not going to do in the future? Like you yourself, for example. So I love it.
Yes. Yes, I I want to pay off all of my student loans,
Yes.
which all of that will happen. And then my goal is I have a niece and a little sister. And regardless if I have kids or not, like I want them to I want to start their 529 accounts or just
Okay.
have something for them by the time
Yeah.
they go to college. Like,
Right.
hey, we'll figure it out. One thing it is, you will not take out student loans because I
I
don't want
know.
you to have to be, when you're in your early 20s, like my student loan payment is almost $2,000 a month. Like I don't want
Uh,
that for you.
yeah.
I want you to be able to enjoy it. So we go all figure this out together. I got a couple
Right.
thousand saved up. We gonna help you get through school so you don't have to worry about that and you can
Absolutely.
enjoy college because I know what
Yeah.
it's like firsthand and I don't want you to experience that.
Nope. Yeah. I feel you. My parents paid for a good majority of my college
That's amazing.
with their investment properties. Maybe that's where I knew that I wanted to get into real estate because I saw them
Hmm.
doing it on the side. So it paid for part of my schooling, and I think junior or senior year I could take out some loans, which is where the student loans that I talk about. But my husband also has a master's degree, an MBA. So that was a lot of the bulk of our debt. And when you form that covenant with someone, their money is yours and their debt is yours too.
Yes.
So that's where I come from, a place of speaking ours. Yeah.
Yes. This has just fulfilled me so much today.
Yes.
Okay, now I have a fun question for you.
Okay, let's do it.
If you had an unlimited budget
Mm.
for the day,
Okay.
what would you do and how would you spend it?
Ooh, girl. Hmm. Well, first I'm gonna go out to breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Period.
So
I'm eating all three
yes,
meals.
we're
Okay, I
pretty
don't even eat 3 meals on a regular day, but this I'm eating all three, and I'm starting early at 5 a.m.
early. 5 a.m. be up. Like, what are we doing today?
But
Yeah,
I'm
so it's
open.
probably
Waffle House up.
yes. So yeah. So we're gonna find the finest of the finest restaurants, eat really good. I will probably go to a day spa.
Hmm.
I love day spas. Ones where I could just stay all day
Yes.
and sit in
Relax.
this pool, sit in that pool, saunas, all the things. Um, Lunch and dinner. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. I might spend this day in another country.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Just
Uh-huh.
because I
Yeah.
can.
Because you said it was an unlimited budget.
Hmm.
So I might spend this day in another city. I don't think it would be Charlotte. Yeah. Another country. So yeah,
You
we're
can
spending
go to
the
London for the
day.
day.
Yes. Yeah, we go to
Hmm.
London. We could go to Jamaica, Punta Cana, Costa Rica, anywhere. I like that. That's better. All the things that I said I would do, but in another country.
In another country for the
Yeah.
day.
On the
I
beach. On
I
the
like it. I
beach.
never thought about like going
Yes.
somewhere, for the day because we're right. That's why this is very random, but like if realistically, I would love to like live in London because you can literally wake up and be like, "Hey, do you want to go to Paris for the day?" Like
Right.
you take the train to Paris,
Yes,
and it's
yes.
like, I could literally be in another country in 2 hours. That is
You
so
could. I
awesome.
do hear the girls, they be taking the train from London to Paris, and I love
Just
that.
for the day. Like my
Yep.
favorite restaurant is in Paris. You want to go for the day? We go get a dinner.
Yeah, how tea is that?
And now I gotta go to Oklahoma. I don't want to go. No,
Right.
no, get me
Oh
out of here.
man. I love it. I love it. I'm the same way though. And I do want to go to London for tea.
Hmm.
I want to go to London for
I
tea.
love London. I wish I had a British accent. Like, like I think that's so tea.
A
Like,
little Bridgerton vibe.
yes, I just gotta. People
Yeah.
say that I have like, being from Chicago, they say I have like an accent. I don't hear it, but
Maybe.
yeah, I feel like when I'm around like my family,
Yeah.
and and then it comes out and stuff
Right,
like
right,
that. It's
right,
like, oh,
right.
okay, I do got a little, I'm a
Yeah.
little.
Yes, yes. I love it.
So, Erin, what is next for your painting franchise?
Oh, well, we're a year and a month in.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
Amazing.
So, what's next? We're just going to try to hit our financial goals. I don't know if we want to be paint franchise owners for the rest of our lives, or do we want to, try a different experience, a different business potentially as well. So I don't know. We're taking it day by day and just hustling every day that we're here, basically. We will grow our paint crew,
Okay.
our crews. Right now, I have three very strong, solid crews, and they're the ones that do our painting. And so I do hope to acquire more crews and more clients, potentially hire. We did have a previous employee, and they, found a different role that worked better for their family.
Hmm.
So they're no longer with us. I operate the business. Definitely a goal is to put someone in this seat
Yeah.
so that I don't have to operate the business on a 9 to 5 basis every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
So I would say that's what's next. Yeah.
Okay.
And God willing, because it has to make financial sense to hire
Sense.
someone.
Absolutely. You ever thought expanding to Dallas? The
Hmm.
housing market in Dallas is just like, since I've been here for 5 years, and I've seen places that were just grass
Right.
build up within the last 2 to 3 years. And I think if you were
Right.
to, expand and franchise in Dallas, that
Hmm.
would be amazing.
Yeah. So there's already a that one painter, Charlotte. I
Okay.
mean, no, that one painter, Dallas. I'm sorry.
Okay.
There's already a that one painter, Dallas. So, like I said, it's a national brand, and so the major cities were purchased.
Oh,
We were the ones who were able to get where we live, Charlotte. So yeah. Mhm.
okay. Girl, it's okay because look, Charlotte's growing too.
Sure is.
Growing, and you baby, you gonna be the value business partner in
There you go.
Charlotte.
There you go. Speak it.
And my last question before we conclude today's episode:
Yeah.
what's next for your financial independence journey?
Oh, some things I can share.
Okay, sure.
No, we're gonna keep it on the down low. No, we're always stirring the pot. What could we do? How could we make it?
Mhm.
What is gonna be our next step? Like I said, potentially selling that property, right, to pay down a significant amount of debt, which I can't even fathom, like, how low it will be. Like, I'm just like, is that going to be real reality? But one thing I'm big on is not counting your chickens before
Before
your
they,
eggs hatch. That's how the phrase goes. So I'm just keeping a positive mind. Like, if that happens, it happens.
Mhm.
And if it doesn't, we'll just keep chugging along day by day, paycheck by paycheck.
And you're gonna look up and you're gonna be like, we're debt free, and it's gonna happen.
No.
And I'm excited. And I
I'm
told
excited for
everybody else,
you.
I'm having a party.
Ah.
Chicago, so everybody know who listens to the show. Everybody know Denai's having a dad-free
I
party. Like
love,
y'all gonna have to give me
I
3
love it.
months to show my ass.
Yep. We
Like
definitely,
I'm
we
about to get
definitely
back
need
in
a
that.
cake.
Yeah,
Your kitchen party. I'm like, maybe we should have a little a Jeffrey cake. I don't know,
definitely
because
a
we can't.
cake.
Yes, I was gonna say because we can't spend a lot on said party.
No, no, we're not gonna spend a. We're gonna I'm gonna start putting once I clear my credit card debt, I'm gonna just start
Um,
putting like $5-10 towards like my
so
debt
the,
for celebration. So when the time comes,
mm.
I'm acting a damn fool.
Okay, I like
So
that.
make
Maybe
sure
I should.
I'm gonna be like Erin, come down. We having
Yes.
a party.
Yeah, maybe I should put $10 aside every now and then
Yes, and you
because
definitely yes.
yeah, whether it's a dinner or a party, like the money is set for, it's spoken
The money
for.
is set for it. Yes, and it's so important too. One of the things I'm learning right now is balance in this thing called life. I feel
Right,
like I've tried to be so restrictive in different areas of my life
right,
that restriction caused deprivation, and that deprivation
mm,
caused me to snap. And you have to have
right,
balance. It's like
right.
when I first started my weight loss journey, because I
Yeah,
believe everything plays a part into each other. When I first started my weight loss journey, I was like, oh my God, I'm just gonna eat chicken breasts. For a month straight, I kid you not, Aaron, I ate ground turkey and rice,
okay,
lunch and dinner. I had a weekend, and because I was all super restrictive, I've never done this before in my life.
right,
I snapped.
right.
And that weekend turned into a week. That week turned into a month. And it just, caused me to spiral and all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so important to have that balance and reward yourself, along the way.
Right.
So I do have a pay off category. So when I pay off my credit card, I'm gonna go get my ears pierced. I'm gonna
Yes.
little things along the way. Like when
Yeah.
I pay off my car, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might
Right.
buy myself a perfume, but I
Mm-hmm.
already have the money saved up for the account, so that way I can reward myself, and it keeps the momentum going.
I like that. Yes. You do have to kind of reset before going into a next goal. Yeah, it's
Yes,
very important. Or acknowledge, let's say.
yes, you have to. You
And I
have to.
like your methods. I may
Yes,
implement some of them as well.
baby, I have a sinking fund for it. We celebrate every win, no matter how big or small over here.
There we go.
So, Erin, where can people find you and follow you on your journey of motherhood,
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, and your financial freedom?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, even on Threads. All of them are at Erin The Mompreneur _
Okay, perfect. And I will make sure I list all of Erin's information in today's show notes for you all.
Yes.
And is there any last parting words you want to say? Any advice you want to give to the girls and the guys?
Hmm. Okay, my best piece of advice I always say is to just be your best self. Show up authentically as you, right? It is very easy to go from surviving to thriving when you change your mindset. So that's one of the biggest things. And yes, part of it is financial. But if you want to be your higher self, you want to live better, feel better, be better, and go from surviving to thriving, change your mindset, change your environment, and a lot will happen from that alone. That's my big tip.
I like that. And
Yes.
thank you so much, Erin. It was great to be with you today.
You're welcome, Denai. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And thank you so much, family, for tuning in to another episode of the Financially Abundant Podcast. If you like today's episode, and if you know a mom, entrepreneur, someone on their debt-free journey, or just someone that's just trying to become the best version of themselves, make sure that you like, subscribe, leave a comment, and most importantly, share today's episode with someone that you think would benefit. All right, family, y'all know my saying, it's not the destination that inspires others. It's the journey. So inspire yourself to do the impossible. I love you all. Have a great week. And I'll see you all next week, same time and same place. Bye.
Hi.